It's a testament to the people of
Testify, brother.
That is who did this. People who stayed tough and smart and united during the most difficult challenge of our lives.
Today, the governor.
I still think Governor Cuomo should resign immediately. He should also be investigated, and hopefully that is underway. Another thing the CDC will be investigating is the link between heart inflammation and the COVID-19 vaccine.
Safety findings for Pfizer-BioNTech vaccination in 12 to 15-year-olds from VSafe and VAERS surveillance are consistent with the results from pre-authorization clinical trials. Analysis of VAERS preliminary reports of myocarditis and pericarditis is in progress, including follow-up to obtain medical records, to complete reviews, to apply the working case definition, to adjudicate cases.
That is a whole bunch of jargon. Let's see if we can get down to the bottom of it. Males under 30 may face heart problems after getting vaccinated. Myocarditis and pericarditis share the same symptoms. Treatment for myocarditis can be solved with over-the-counter medication or resolve itself. So, not a huge issue. But the CDC did report that there is stronger correlation between the coronavirus vaccine and heart inflammation. Males under the age of 30 may face heart complications after receiving a full shot, according to the Deputy Director of the CDC. I'm sorry, the CDC's Immunization Safety Office. Although it has not been officially confirmed to be an associated problem, the agency is investigating 226 cases of myocarditis, the inflammation of the myocardium in the heart, and pericarditis, the inflammation of the pericardium, among young vaccinated men. Myocarditis and pericarditis share the same symptoms, including fever, fatigue, shortness of breath, and a particular type of chest pain. They're desperate to push the lab leak, even though to claim that Trump was right all along, even though Trump was saying something about fucking bioweapons and shit, that it was man-made and engineered to be released by the Chinese. That was their claim, so no. If it was scientists accidentally let it leak, that's a lot different than they engineered it to be a bioweapon and China was trying to attack us, which was the story that they were putting out about this time last year. Now, worries have mounted in the U.S. over the Delta strain, which the CDC has now labeled a variant of concern. A coronavirus variant that was first identified in India is causing growing concern in the U.S., leading the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to raise its status to a variant of concern. While data shows that vaccines are still effective against the variant, referred to as Delta, there is still worry that the variant could become the dominant strain circulating in the U.S. and spread among unvaccinated populations. Which, if I was to guess, that's what we're headed towards come September, October of this year. New research suggests that the Delta variant nearly doubles the risk of hospitalization compared to the strain that was previously dominant in the UK, referred to as Alpha. The Scottish study also found that 2 doses of the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines provide protection against the Delta variant. Alpha became the main strain circulating in the U.S. in the spring, but experts are concerned that the Delta variant could soon overtake it. It makes up nearly 10% of U.S. infections, according to the CDC. The agency changed Delta's classification this week to a variant of concern, saying that there is mounting evidence that the Delta variant spreads more easily and causes more severe cases when compared to other variants. Scott Gottlieb, a former commissioner of the FDA, told CBS News Face the Nation on Sunday that the percentage of Delta cases is doubling every 2 weeks. With just under 44% of the U.S. population fully vaccinated against the coronavirus, experts fear there is plenty of opportunity for the variant to spread. And then what happens when it spreads throughout the unvaccinated population? It can mutate into something even deadlier that the vaccines might not protect against. Oh. It is a mess, a whole mess of bat shit. Like apparently what was going on in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. This is coming to us from Sky News in Australia.
Institute of Virology is the lab under investigation by international intelligence agencies examining whether an accidental leak may have started the global pandemic. Tonight,
whether corporate is bullied. That's when I call out the name, I'm wanting to couch it in like this is the source that this is coming from. Please be aware. We read a lot of shit from Breitbart and The Blaze and Fox News. We just need to couch it so everyone knows what's going on. What's up, Rocky? Good evening.
Great interest to the probe announced by US President Joe Biden. We can show you footage from inside.
It sounded like she said Joey Biden, and that was kind of cute.
And interviews with the very scientists at the heart of one of the greatest cover-ups the world.
Fucking no. Oh, fuck.
How?
Are you serious, Rocky? Let's do the bat story here, and then we're going to check in on what's going on in Gaza.
How did the COVID-19 global pandemic start? Did the virus derived from bats end up in the Wuhan lab, causing an inadvertent leak? Or was there an infected worker? Evidence from this footage will shed more light on some of these questions.
Yeah, it's within the last hour.
By the Chinese and French governments in a deal designed to promote international scientific research.
We're supposed to be getting the video here in just a second.
French and Chinese leaders attend a ceremony marking the signing of the agreement. And China's President Xi Jinping visits a level 4 lab in France. For the first
Winnie the Pooh!
year, there were intense clashes behind the scenes.
中法合作经历了不同理念和文化背景的激烈的冲撞，我们经过10多年的艰苦努力，共同完成了实验室的建设。
That admission from the Deputy Director of the Wuhan National Biosafety Level 4 Lab, Song Dongling, in this extraordinary video produced by the Chinese Academy of Sciences back in May 2017. The video marks the launch of the laboratory. It's called...
Okay, so the Wuhan lab denied studying bats, and apparently we're getting ready to see video
Level 4 laboratory. In this video, Song also admits
of the bats.
had no prior experience in the area of biosafety, yet they were dealing with some of the world's most dangerous pathogens.
我们2004年在接受建设任务之初，我们国家没有批次实验室设计与建设的经验，缺少高压
Well, yeah, but that's not evidence of anything.
系统的使用与管理经验，国家的技术规范也在完善之中。
I'm sure they were walked through the construction with the help of the international community and the World Health Organization.
Highly dangerous experiments. After relying on the French government to both fund and build the lab,
Hi, Smokey.
when it was complete, the French were immediately kicked out. The French government was furious, as this was supposed to be a center of international
That claim sounds dubious.
in French intelligence. There were grave concerns about what the scientists could be hiding and what biological research they intended to conduct. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, there's been worldwide scrutiny.
Okay, she's got this weird look on her face, like this weird smirk the entire time. It's really unsettling.
Institute of Virology, its scientists.
Am I imagining that? Can you guys verify me on that one?
This newly unearthed video features an interview with
Is that just her news face and it's...
infectious diseases from before she famously became known as the Batwoman.
P4这种平台呢，为我们提供了一个更好的一个防护平台。那么这个防护平台可以保证我们从事四级病原研究的这些科研人员有一个安全的工作环境。
Oh, is that what you think?
And for the first time, just how
She's taking a pleasure in it.
Shezheng Li's team had collected.
实证力研究团队10年如一日， 在我国及非洲多地采集15000余份蝙蝠样品，追踪 SARS 病毒源头，并分离出多种新型病毒。
15,000 bat samples. The Wuhan Institute of Virology's virus databases were all wiped from the internet starting on September 12, 2019. Shi Zhengli claimed they had been the subject of hacking attempts.
Now that's an interesting number right
Not
there.
Available to any investigating agencies. Even worse.
And that's one of the reasons why I said that the researchers would have been sick if it actually came from the lab. They would have been sick earlier.
Access to the virus database.
At the end of September.
Peter Daszak confirmed.
So if they were trying, so if it actually came from the lab and they're trying to wipe records on September 12th.
In front of the whole team, both sides.
That is a very good point. Pretty hard to study SARS without bat samples.
Missing database. What we were told by Shi Zhengli was that there'd been hacking attempts on it, about 3,000 hacking attempts, and they took down this Excel spreadsheet database. Absolutely.
Now that's alarming, and the timing on that is alarming.
Ask to see the data.
It is shocking. The World Health Organization didn't even...
Yes, Tones. I brought that up so many times. Fucking when the Trump administration came in, they parsed down the CDC abroad. They actually pulled out our people from China and that lab specifically. So when right-wingers point to, oh, well, they weren't able to trace it back the way they were with MERS or SARS and everything, I wonder how much that has to do with the fact that the U.S. had a diminished presence there in that region.
Ask for access to this database, which in 2017 may have had over 15,000 bat samples. This amazing video I'm bringing you tonight has been unearthed by a team of underground detectives who relentlessly investigate the origins of COVID-19.
And the Trump administration, being as shitty as it was and not forthcoming,
has been arguably great,
contributes to all this. And Fauci having to walk a tightrope with him.
Until only recently, treated this...
I do not envy the position that he was put in.
...as a cold case. Or perhaps they just accepted the line that it was a naturally occurring virus, even though...
How ironic, just 2 months before that.
And counting. One of Drastic's members, Jesse, a digital archivist, made this video discovery along with the group's coordinator.
So here's the footage of bats.
For safety reasons. Billy's written a research paper delving into the question of whether the Wuhan lab kept live bats. This question has been hotly contested since the early days of the outbreak.
I hadn't even heard the claim that they didn't keep bats until today.
Database when he visited Wuhan has also denied...
Yes, Trump had so many business ties to China, as well as Ivanka and Jared.
He said, no bats were sent to Wuhan lab for genetic analysis of viruses collected in the field. That's not how science works. We collect bat samples, send them to the lab, we release bats where we catch them. Then in a second December 2020 tweet, he repeated the claim again. He said, this is a widely circulated conspiracy theory. This piece describes work I'm the lead on and labs I've collaborated with for 15 years. They do not have live or dead bats in them. There is no evidence anywhere that this happened. It's an error that I hope will be corrected.
So he's saying that they collect the sample and then release them again.
The Wuhan Institute of Virology indicates his statements are wrong. It is not a conspiracy to say there were live bats at the lab. It is a fact. And as you can see, this video shows bats in a cage at the Wuhan Institute. You can also see there a researcher feeding a bat with a worm. And in this image, we can see researchers out capturing bats, and a bat even hangs off a researcher's hat.
So where was this footage from?
There are mouse cages, hundreds of them. We know that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was using humanized mice for experiments to see which coronaviruses could infect humans. In some experiments, they used the humanized mice to make viruses that couldn't previously infect humans do exactly that. These experiments called gain of function
Well, they're not really telling us how old it is or where it came from.
to try and predict which
That raises a red flag for me.
This footage, had it been available early last year, may have reshaped the entire narrative around the potential origin of COVID-19. Back then, we were told there were no bats at the lab, but we were told that disease-ridden bats were sold and butchered at the wet market. You'll remember this led to calls
Oops, we found one.
by ministers the world over to shut down wet markets. And videos did the rounds of Chinese people eating.
Well, wet markets actually are incredibly unsanitary.
Never sold at the Wuhan.
I don't know what a humanized mouse is. I guess it's they've genetically modified it to be
Statements from December 2020
more like a human.
claimed it was a conspiracy to say there were bats in the Wuhan lab. He said, "We didn't ask them if they had bats. I wouldn't be surprised if, like many other virology labs, they were trying to set up a bat colony. I know it's happening in labs here and in other countries." That was just June.
See, I don't know what he said that he was responding
A year and
to.
a half ago, there were live
That his
bats at the
comments
Wuhan
weren't
lab,
taken out of
giving
context.
crucial information when they were making their assessments.
Because once again, that dude was an expert. This girl is not. This woman.
Daszak is also the scientist who organized, drafted, and
Interesting. I did not know about humanized
conspiracy to
mice.
suggest
Humanized
the virus may have
mice.
leaked from a lab. While investigating my book, What Really Happened in Wuhan, I discovered that Daszak was invited to brief the FBI and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence at a meeting on February 3rd, 2020, in the earliest days of the outbreak. Misinformation
A humanized
topic
moose.
at that meeting. He's also now leading the lab's own investigation into the origins issue.
So here's the thing: is like the lab leak is plausible. I don't think it's likely. I think it's like a fucking 10%, 15% chance or something like that.
His very involvement in the World Health Organization investigation was an
But you have to be
conflict of interest.
cautious about, like, she's talking about conflict of interest without ever acknowledging her conflicts of interest.
Is false. How can
And that's one of the things, like,
and its report be
the
trusted?
right wingers like Sagar and Jetty. He's made a fucking killing
Not long after
off of validating these right wing beliefs, like, oh, Russiagate, it was all a hoax, blah blah blah. Now he's doing it over lab leak because it gets
The
clicks.
intelligence community also concurs with the wide scientific consensus that the COVID-19 virus was not man-made or genetically modified. That statement from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence on the 30th of April last year. This statement is very clearly false. It always was false.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's to this day, it is still the consensus, ma'am. It is not false.
University Professor Nikolai Petrovsky pointed out over a year ago.
Better adapted to infect humans than any other animal. And that's surprising because it we're not aware that it actually has had the opportunity to adapt to this human receptor before. So it really looked like this was a virus that is optimally designed to infect humans.
Peter Daszak.
Okay, so I don't know that Sagar or like people like that, like, they're not on the Trump train, but they're on the money train that Trumpers like, oh, Sagar is considered like credible. So when he gives weight to that Russiagate, I want to know what Russiagate is. We've had this conversation on the show so many times. Somebody explain to me what Russiagate is. What Rachel Maddow supposedly. I don't watch her. I don't know what she fucking said. I know the facts of the Russia investigation. I know what Mueller said in his report. I know what the Senate Intelligence Committee said in their report. Over 100 campaign connections between Russia and Trump, 11 counts of obstruction. So I don't know what Russiagate is. Now, if you want to say that MSNBC ran with these wild conspiracy theories about the P-tape and everything, I don't know. I don't fucking care. But all fucking news outlets do it, so one news outlet picking on another news outlet doing it is just trying to get clicks off of the fucking fans of that news outlet. That's all it is. They're just trying to troll them.